Hi, how's it going? This is my second video on how to meditate effectively. Um, right now, I'm just recovering from a stomach virus, which is really painful. I ended up not being able to eat for a couple of days, so like I'd eat something and I'd just throw it up immediately. And it was pretty painful. I was bedridden for a little while, and I was kind of thinking to myself, how would I effectively meditate in a situation like this in order to reduce pain? So there's a couple of things. So when I was like in a really painful situation, I tended to run from it, like not, you know, avoid the pain or try to think of it as something foreign, something that I didn't like, something to avoid, and you'd kind of struggle with that. So, a big aspect of what I found out to be true was to accept the pain when you're bedridden, when you're having horrible abdominal pains or horrible whatever pain that you have, is you really do have to accept it and know that it is you. So if you're gonna try to like avoid this type of pain or try to neglect it altogether, it's gonna bite you in the ass. It's gonna get even worse. So really just like accepting the pain, and you'll notice that you'll start twitching or struggling when you're in a painful situation. So trying to stay still, having your body stay still is actually a good way to kind of force yourself into a meditative state, because most of this struggling and moving around can come from just excess energy. So when you're not moving at all, it's kind of forcing your energy to be in a more controlled state, in a state where you're not moving. So yeah, when you're in a painful situation like that, my recommendation is to just really accept that pain. You know, if you have to take something for it, I've been in really painful situations where, yeah, I've had to like take an ibuprofen or something like that. You can do that. But yeah, accepting the pain, remaining completely still, forcing your energy to kind of become more controlled, and also how to meditate specifically. I want to mention this. I know in the last video I talked about how you have to focus on the experiences of your senses. So kind of pushing yourself into the now, what you can hear, what you can see, what you can touch, what you can feel. So all these senses kind of working together, moving in moderation. So like you could focus on your like hand or on your breath. You can focus on what you're hearing, what you can taste if there's something that you can taste at the time. But that focus actually becomes really difficult when you're sick. So when you're bedridden and you have like tons of thoughts flooding into your head and perceptions and all that type of stuff, it gets really difficult to meditate effectively. So something you can do is you can focus on how you physically feel, you know, through your what your hand feels like, what your elbow feels like, what anything, which is fine. That works. You can do that in any type of situation I've come across so far. Listening, hearing to what's going on in the world around you, that's simple enough. But your eyes, focusing on the experience of what your eyes can see, that's the difficult part, because you're bedridden, you're closing your eyes constantly. Thoughts are going to be pouring into your head. So what you have to do is really just when you're lying down, and I know this isn't recommended for meditation, right? They ask you to be in like kind of a seated position, one where you're not going to fall asleep, and one that's not going to be confused for sleeping or or something that's not meditation. But in this instance, you're kind of forced into that position. So what you have to do is, when you're lying down, you have to focus on the inside of your eyelids. So you have to focus on the inside of your eyelids, or just a point there. You have to remain still and accept the pain. And that's kind of what I've figured out so far that helps in those painful situations using meditation. I haven't gone too in depth with it. Like, I don't think I was in pain long enough to find anything else that might be useful, but if anybody else can think of anything, please, comment below. So those three things really helped. Staying still, so no excess energy can produce any type of fidgeting, can force you into a type of meditative state. The focusing on the inside of your eyelids to meditate effectively that way. And what was that third one? I'm totally forgetting. I'm totally blanking on it right now. Oh well. Well, I mean, you can rewind the video and check it and listen to it. But something that you don't want to do is to do a lot of things that wouldn't be conducive to meditation and mindfulness, which is, watch like a lot of TV or do a lot of things that would prevent you from meditating effectively. So that's kind of my advice and recommendation for anyone interested in meditating under painful situations like these. Yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please write them below. All right, thanks. Bye.